Today, we're really digging into something specific, but super important. The rules in New York State for using and getting rid of pesticides.
Exactly. We're using the official NY laws.
And look, we know a lot of you might be listening because you've got an exam coming up on this stuff. So think of this as us helping you nail down the key things you absolutely need to know.
Yeah, we'll cover how you're supposed to apply them, what to do with the empty containers, and how to handle pesticides you don't need anymore.
Right. Let's cut through the jargon and find those core requirements. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. So first up is Section 325.2, which is all about actually applying the pesticides. The big overarching theme here, prevent contamination. Simple as that, but well, the details matter.
Prevent contamination. Okay, that sounds like the number one rule. What exactly does it mean in practice? What are we trying not to contaminate?
Well, the regulation lists it out pretty clearly. You've got to avoid contaminating people, obviously, pets, fish, wildlife, crops, even ones you aren't treating, property, buildings, land, pastures, even nearby water sources.
Wow, okay. That's comprehensive. It covers pretty much everything except the target pest, doesn't it?
Essentially, yes. And it specifically mentions using pesticides in a manner and considering wind and other conditions precisely to stop that contamination from happening.
Ah, the manner and wind. That sounds like classic exam territory. You need to know how you apply it matters, and you need to check the weather, basically.
Exactly. You can't just spray on a super windy day and hope for the best. The onus is on the applicator to assess those conditions, think about drift, and make sure the pesticide only goes where it's intended. That's a key responsibility.
Makes sense. Okay, so beyond preventing drift and general contamination, what's next in this section? I see something about labels.
Yes, a huge one. You must use the pesticide strictly according to the directions on its label and labeling, and that includes any official changes or additions approved by the department.
The label is law, then. That seems straightforward, but why the strong emphasis? For exam purposes, what's the takeaway?
Because that label contains all the critical info application rights, what pests it targets, safety gear needed, environmental warnings. It's all based on extensive testing. Going off label without permission is, well, illegal and potentially dangerous.
Right. Stick to the label unless the state explicitly says otherwise.
Got it.
Now, there's a technical bit here. Anti-siphon devices. Required on all equipment drawing water.
Oh, absolutely crucial. This might seem small, but it's a major safety requirement. Think about it. You're filling your sprayer tank from a well or a pond.
Okay.
If the water pressure drops suddenly, without that anti-siphon device, the pesticide mix in your tank could get sucked back into the water source.
Yikes. Okay, that would be bad. Really bad. Contaminating the whole water supply.
Precisely. So that device physically prevents backflow or back siphonage. Definitely something to remember for an exam. It's a key piece of protective equipment.
Understood. Anti-siphon prevent water source contamination. Simple, but critical. And the last point in this section, having the label on hand.
Yes, the certified applicator or the technician or apprentice working under them has to physically possess a copy of the label for every single pesticide they're currently using.
So carrying potentially a bunch of labels around.
It might seem like a hassle, but it's necessary. If there's an accident, a spill, or just a question about use, you need that information immediately. First aid, spill cleanup, etc.
Oh, right. And for inspections too, I suppose.
Exactly. It lets the DEC inspectors easily check that you're following the rules for that specific product. It's about immediate access and accountability.
Okay, that covers application pretty thoroughly. Let's move on to what happens after the pesticide is used dealing with the containers. Section 325.4, right?
Correct. Section 325.4 deals with cleansing and disposal. And the first thing it does is split containers into two types, non-combustible and combustible.
Non-combustible, like metal or glass, and combustible, like plastic or paper bags.
Generally, yeah. So for non-combustible containers, the main rule is they have to be cleaned properly before disposal. The standard method mentioned is the 3-rinse technique.
3 rinse. Okay, I've heard of that, like rinse it out 3 times.
Essentially, yes. Or another method approved by the department. The goal is to get that residual pesticide out. There's a small exception for ready-to-use products. Those just need to be drained for 30 seconds.
Got it. So after rinsing my non-combustible, non-returnable container, what can I do with it?
2 main choices. You can dispose of it on your own property, and this is important in a way that prevents contamination, so you can't just leave it lying around, or you can take it to an approved sanitary landfill.
Okay. What if it's a returnable, non-combustible container?
Yeah.
Like a drum you send back?
For those, you need to seal them up tight, no leaks, clean the outside, and then return them to the supplier you got them from.
Makes sense. Shared responsibility there. Now, what about the combustible ones, the plastics and paper?
Disposal options are a bit different. You can still use a sanitary landfill, provided it's permitted for that, or you can use a high-temperature incinerator, but it has to be one specifically approved by the Department for Pesticide Containers.
Landfill or special incinerator.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's a third option mentioned here. On-site destruction, like burning.
Yes, for most combustible containers, you can destroy them on the application site, usually by burning, on the same day they're emptied. But, and this is a big but, for exams, you have to follow all the relevant public health and environmental laws.
Okay, sounds like a controlled burn is needed. But you said most containers.
Right. There's a major exception. Containers that held volatile hormone-type herbicides, things like 2004D maybe, those cannot be burned on site.
Why the exception for those?
Because burning them can release those volatile compounds into the air, potentially causing damage to sensitive crops downwind. It's a specific environmental risk.
Okay, so what do you do with empty volatile herbicide containers then?
For those specific combustible containers, your options are back to the sanitary landfill or disposal on your own property in a way that prevents contamination similar to the non-combustible rules. No burning allowed for those.
Definitely a key distinction to flag for exam study. Volatile hormone herbicides, on-site burning. Got it. Okay,